The Google algorithm has been acting up lately. It's been giving me very strange recommendations. Usually it's right on the money and sometimes predicts things I want even before I've mentioned them out loud, and I wonder how it knows. Is it reading my mind? Or does it just know me better than I know myself? For instance, recently I was thinking about replacing my laptop. The old one starting to malfunction, slowing down to the point of being irritating. Surely enough, ads for laptops started appearing at the side of my browser window when I visited various websites, even though I hadn't mentioned the problem to anyone and I hadn't even said out loud that the old laptop was bothering me. Again and again, ads started to show up that catered to my very exact needs, getting more and more creepily specific. A hole ripped in my underwear, and an ad for underwear popped up on my Google phone. I broke a coffee mug. Ads for coffee mugs start to show up. I didn't even have to think about stuff after a while. It just popped up on my feed before I even knew I wanted it. I tried not to give in to these temptations, but I couldn't help myself. The ads were just too perfect. It was everything I ever needed at the click of a button. Didn't help that I had a shopping addiction once upon a time. This brought it all back. And the bills began to pile up as my online shopping became a real problem for my wife and I financially. I started seeing looks of disgust and annoyance on her face when she talked to me, and I realized I was ruining our marriage with my constant need for these perfect new things which were clearly meant so specifically just for me. But to be honest, it wasn't just that. There were problems long before that. The buying habit was just an escape, I'd begun to realize. Still, I couldn't let her take that from me. She wanted to cut up my credit card and wanted to cancel it. I told her no. Then, this is where it starts to get weird. Very soon after that, new ads started to appear when I was browsing on a laptop. Ads for shovels, ad for lye, for dark clothing and flashlights, for spades, pickaxes, grass seed. Strange, I thought at first, since we didn't even live in a house with a backyard. Why was it making such odd recommendations all of a sudden? Looking at the laptop more closely, I realized why the algorithm had my desires all wrong suddenly. It wasn't synced to my Google account. The laptop was logged into my wife's profile. But why would she want to buy those items? Gardening tools don't make a lot of sense when you don't have a garden, or even a backyard for that matter. So I opened up the history tab, going back and seeing what she'd been looking at. Strangely, the last 24 hours were wiped blank. She was still at the grocery store too, so I pulled up the bank statements and her credit card account, overwhelmed with the desire to find out the truth, like an itch in my mind that I couldn't help but scratch. When I logged into my Google account and tried to follow the money, as they always say in movies, I couldn't help but notice the new ads dominating the borders of my computer screen. Learn self-defense now. Meadow Valley Karate School, currently accepting new students. Put on these brand new Nike running shoes and get outside. Go! And then finally, Bob's Gun Store. You can't put a price on safety. That last one was actually nearby, so I just decided to quit browsing the internet and get out of the house. After all, the only thing I could find in our bank and credit card history was a big cash withdrawal the day prior. It hadn't been me, so it must have been Christine, but why had she taken the money out? Part of me wasn't surprised when I saw her car parked outside the gun store. She was so transfixed by her new purchase that she didn't even notice me as I drove past, gawking at her. She was holding a large pistol in her hand and stroking it thoughtfully. Christine had always said she hated guns. I guess maybe she changed her mind. I drove for a long time after that, more afraid than I've ever felt in my life, terrified of the woman I married. A couple hours outside of the city, my phone started to ring. I pulled over onto the gravel shoulder and fished the Google Pixel phone out of my pocket with shaking hands, looking at the screen. It's a video call from Christine. She was obviously wondering where I was. Swiping up on the screen, I saw her face appear. Seeing it made me feel like I had been wrong about everything. Like it had all been a big mistake. She could never do anything to hurt me. Hey, where are you? Are you driving? I asked her, seeing the background of her video call. She looked to be on a country road somewhere. Yeah, of course. I was worried sick about you. I pulled up your GPS data on your phone because you didn't come home for dinner. Where are you going? Of course, I had forgotten about that. She knew my passwords and could track my phone. Tell him to stay where he is, a man's voice said in the background of her call. Stay where you are. I'm coming to get you, okay? Yeah, she was coming to get me, all right. Christine, whose voice was that? Call suddenly cut out as her stunned face seemed unable to come up with a response to my question. I'm browsing my phone now, looking for a motel where I can spend the night. The promoted ones that keep popping up are for places in Mexico. I think maybe this time I should listen to Google.